Hi there, Gemma here. So, this is a quick digression from the things I've been talking about in recent times. It's more like a comment on a subject which is, I don't know whether it's still brewing. I don't know whether I'm late to the party or anything like that. But this is with regard to a certain young lady called Letitia Wright, to be very specific. So, um, growing up as a kid, I was an avid fan of comic books, but because we weren't wealthy, most of the comic books I read was based on me borrowing comic books from classmates of mine. So I don't have an entire encyclopedia of comic books either in my head or volumes in my library or anything like that. In fact, I remember my dad buying me a maximum of 2 or 3 comic books. He knew I liked reading comics, and once in a while he would treat me to a comic book. And I remember the comic books he bought me were Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider, which is really odd. I mean, of all the comic books to buy, I mean, not Fantastic Four, not Spider-Man, not Captain America, not Incredible Hulk, not even She-Hulk, but Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange. Go figure. Anyway, this is not a rant about comic books. This is about a certain young lady called Letitia Wright, a British girl or woman, who played a part in the movie Black Panther. And she played the sister of the title role Black Panther, which was played by a certain young man called Chadwick Boseman. This is not about him. A lot of good things have been said about him. This is not about him. This is about this girl. The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because this girl got into a lot of hot water recently, and I don't know if she's gotten out of the hot water yet, or whether the controversy has died down yet, or whether it's ended. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't particularly follow these things too much. But I wanted to just say, in respect of the things she's been facing recently, just in case you don't know what she's been facing, it transpired that she had concerns about the jab that is currently being rolled out here in the United Kingdom. She posted a video. No, that's too strong a term. She shared a video posted by a certain prophet guy. Whether that guy is a charlatan or whether it's genuine remains to be seen. You know, the way God expects us to judge prophets or prophecy is whether the things they say actually come to pass. So she felt this guy said some legitimate things or worth thinking about and perhaps worth sharing. Now, usually when people share things, it's because they feel something is very funny, so they want to give others a laugh, or they feel something is very important and they want to bring it to the attention of others. In this case, I think it was because she felt it was very important. She wasn't mocking the guy. She was saying, you know what, have a think about this. We need to be careful about what we're putting in our bodies. Those were her words. And as a result, she received a massive backlash, you know. And this is in a sense, this is the problem with having a massive following on the internet. If you have a massive following, you will either have massive likes or massive dislikes. Everything gets amplified, you know. And you know, people don't really quite appreciate how much this impacts a person's mental state. I mean, if you consider it, this is a girl who relatively recently came out expressing how she had experienced bouts of depression before, and so on. So I think people need to be a bit careful and perhaps a bit more compassionate in how they react to the things she said, regardless of whether they disagree or agree with her. This video is probably not going to be heard by many people. You know, it really doesn't matter. But people need to be a bit more compassionate because they need to consider this girl's background. She has recently overcome some bouts of depression. And you know, with folks who have overcome depression, in some cases, it's not exactly very far away, depending on how they overcame it and so on. Now, what made me particularly interested about this girl is because she gave a testimony one time about getting born again, about how God had saved her and so on. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, On the one hand, I was rejoicing, I was happy for her, but on the other hand, I was slightly skeptical because, it's very easy to claim that you are born again. But what astonished me, apart from the fact that I subsequently found out a bit more about her testimony and so on, what astonished me was the courage she had to express a view that I know is hugely unpopular in this world today, especially given her position in society, her position of being an actress who has been hired in Hollywood in a very big budget movie, for which there's speculation at the present time that she may be cast as the next quote unquote Black Panther, simply because in a sense it kind of follows the comic books, and in some respects because also of the passing away of Chadwick Boseman, who I tried to find out if he was a Christian, and there's some impression he is, which if he is, oh gosh, I'll be one of the most happy people on the planet, simply because he got saved, because God values a life. God values a life. And what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his own soul? So I'd be delighted for him in that regard. But there's so much going for her just now. Letitia Wright in playing the main character sister Shuri, who I think in the comic books becomes eventually a Black Panther herself. And especially because Chadwick had passed away, there was speculation that perhaps they might decide to fast forward the thing such that she then carries on from the tradition of the comic books and so on, as a nice way of solving the problem while retaining the honor accorded to Chadwick as the first, perhaps original Black Panther. This is not about comic books and so on. This is about a girl called Letitia. I want to say I admire her courage. Regardless of whether you agree with her or not, think about the fact that she very likely knew she'd probably get backlash. But her concern about her view of potentially maybe harm coming to people, and the fact that she was questioning it, made her think, you know what, people need to hear this, and ask the question itself. She did not say people should not do something. She didn't tell anybody, don't take the jab. She didn't tell anybody, take the jab. She simply said, it's worth thinking about. Now, for me, that is kind. That is courageous. That should be applauded. And especially when you think about the fact that she could potentially lose her job, because now there's a huge clamor on the internet for her to lose her job. People make these statements and they forget that this girl is just starting out, as an actress. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending that folks go act in Hollywood, but I'm just saying this is her bread and butter. And you're saying she should be fired. People are saying she should be fired just because she said, consider and think about this. What kind of world are we living in today where a person can't express an opinion anymore and say, think about it? See, I grew up in a country in Nigeria. When I was growing up, we lived in a country where journalists who spoke the truth were killed, were hounded. They had their publishing houses burnt down, several. Newswatch magazine, Tell magazine. The Nigerians who grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s will know what I'm talking about. Especially 70s and 80s will know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, free speech is not exactly free speech anymore. We make claims about free speech, but speech only seems to be free today so long as the majority agree with you. As soon as people don't agree with you, then it's no longer free speech. Now, from what I gather, this girl has subsequently deleted all her social media accounts and so on. And I feel for her. I genuinely feel for her, because I know how it feels when a person disagrees with you, when you have a conflict with one person, how it feels. I know how it feels when a few people disagree with your position, even when 40 people disagree with your position. I know how it felt when I was at university and I was called a heretic for many of the things I said, which interestingly many preachers are preaching today. Go figure. But when the whole world or half the world that is on Twitter is against you, to the point where, you know, even, what's his name? He's an actor I like, but obviously we clearly disagree on certain things. What's his name now? The guy who plays War Machine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Don Cheadle, right? Even he was weighing in on the issue, you know, and this is a young girl, young bright girl who's just starting out. And I think, have mercy, have some compassion, okay? And Letitia, if you ever hear this, or if anybody who knows Letitia ever hears this, know that some people are praying for you. Know that God values your life. Know that your courage is not lost on the Lord. Know that the Bible says in Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 10, it says, how does it put it now? It says, for God is not unrighteous to forsake, or to forget, God is not unrighteous to forget your labor of love and work of righteousness. The Bible also says, it says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul? You know, there are certain people, when they get into positions of authority and privilege, all of a sudden they become quiet. All of a sudden, the things that they would say normally, they refuse to say it because they're afraid of the backlash. And I want to say to you, Letitia, or to whoever else is going to say something and is scared of the backlash, so long as the Lord is with you, there is nothing to be scared of. Because greater is he that is in you. 1 John chapter 3 verse 4, I believe. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That's either 1 John 3 4 or 1 John 4 4. I don't remember too well which one it is. But greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. For the rest of the world, whoever hears this, I say to you, even if you disagree with Letitia for posting that video, have some compassion. She didn't say do something. She didn't say don't do something. She simply said think about it. Let us think. There's nothing wrong with thinking. There's nothing wrong with considering something. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion on something. Let us think. Let us have compassion. After all, we are human beings, not human doings, not human opinions, not human tweets. We are human beings. Have mercy and have compassion, especially on this girl, considering the things that she's been through before. I'll be back with something else with regard to the book of Revelation, the last days, and the road to tribulation. Take care. God bless you.